Okay, no,
Oh,
all right, I'm seeing it now. Okay, cool. What's going on, Identity Imprinting crew? I am here with Aaron Roth today, and we are going to be talking about collapsing timelines. And when I wrote the post, so you read the post that I wrote this morning?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the post. I was really
Yeah. Right.
excited. I was
Yeah,
like,
you
that
were in
did
it.
happen.
And the thing that is that I shared in there is like the most valuable thing that we have is time. It's the only thing that you can't buy back, but you can purchase it in the future, which takes some trust, some preemptive thinking, and some proper strategies on how you approach whatever it is that you want to get accomplished. And what you've done in the past 3 months, if it's been 3 months since we've been working
It's been
together?
3 months. Yeah, we're 3
My
months in.
gosh.
I
Okay,
know.
so 3 months since we've been working together, and realistically 2 months because Christmas break and all that stuff,
Right,
and
right,
you
right,
did
right.
all that. Like the progress that you've made has been just absolutely inspiring. Like to me, it's been
You.
inspiring, and that's why I wanted to. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Aw, thanks.
So in the post I put like what took me 8 years to do, you did in 8 weeks.
Which is
Like
amazing,
that's
which is like so crazy and terrifying and exciting and everything all at the same time. Because,
yeah. Go
and
on.
this thing you're talking about time, like when we first talked, like it's a discovery call, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said the same thing to me, and that really, really resonated with me because like my life was like it was good. I had made some good changes. I was like laying foundations, but there were all these like really big next level things I wanted to do. And I felt like they were just kind of like, I don't know, just like spoiling inside me because I wasn't doing them.
Mm.
And you said that thing about collapsing timelines. And I was like, that's what I want. Like time you can't get back. But then we did it. We just like absolutely collapsed the timelines. And it was amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, so we met through Jen in her
Yes.
2%
Yes.
group.
I'm a
And
junior coach in her 2% mindset group.
cool. And did
Yeah.
you were at the mastermind when I came to New
Yes.
York?
Yes. I was at the
Awesome.
mastermind when you came to New York because I was there just supporting everybody in the program and whatnot. And I heard you speak and I saw you work with people doing precise language. And I was like, oh, this is the guy I have to work with. So yeah.
Yeah, so in that we talked about identity imprinting,
Yes.
which identity imprinting is kind of like if you take precise language and package it up in a way that it can be digested in 10 minutes. That's what
Yeah.
that is. And then we kind of like popped the hood and said, and I was like, all right, now I'm going to show you like the language technology that I've developed on how to get like absolute clarity. So if you could share with everyone here, like what you saw in precise language in that demonstration that really got you excited to move forward and utilize that this language modality for yourself.
Well, it was so interesting watching you work with people because, I mean, there were similar issues that I have, right? Like I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm an artist, I'm an actor, writer, director. And you were working with actors. And so there were similar issues that I've gone through in the past, but watching people talk through it and then reach a place where they couldn't, I'm doing it right now. They had no words.
All words are acceptable right now.
All words are accepted. Okay, good. Where they couldn't just, they had no words for what they were trying to say. And you went and you said, that's a monster. And you went in there and worked on it with people until they could speak about what it was. And often it was like more simple. It was like, I am scared. And so it was issues that I could relate to as an artist and watching you work, but then it's also as a teacher of Shakespeare, I deal so much with language and precise language and saying exactly what you mean to say and really being able to say what you mean in the moment precisely and specifically through Shakespeare's words. But so I was like, oh, this hits me on two levels, as an artist, but also as like a teacher and a coach. So I think I called you right after that.
Yeah. And I remember, I think I was in Costa Rica at the time. I was teaching out there, and me and you had a conversation, And we went through all of the necessary, points of the conversation that kind of bring you to like, well, what am I going to do next? We talked about what your dream was. Like
Yes.
and we talked about like, rubbing the lamp and asking the genie, right? Like Aladdin didn't ask the genie like, well, if it's possible, can you turn me into a prince? Right? He's like, no, turn me to a prince. And that's that. Right.
Yeah.
And so we got like really clear, really bold and brave as to what it is that you wanted. We discussed like, what are the things that are standing in your way, both in the, the external world of the external obstacles and the internal ones that, kind of cause you to self-sabotage.
Absolutely.
And then we talked about two other things too, which was like, what will life look like once you get once you overcome these challenges? Like, what would life be like, right?
Yeah.
And we got into the dream. And then this is the thing that I feel like most people miss, because everyone's looking for return on investments.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and my coach, Alex Moscow, who I coach with in the Incongruent Coach Collective, he talks about the COI, the cost of inaction. Like, what is it going to cost you if you don't? What does life look like a year from now if nothing changes, right? I remember that being super heavy for you.
It was really intense because I had all these really big next level dreams, like for myself, both as a teacher and a coach, and as an actor and as a filmmaker. And I was like, and personal goals too, but those big ones, I was like, I know they're all next level. I know I'm going to have to be so much bigger and braver and everything to get those. And if I have those desires in me and I'm not acting on them, they're gonna just like rot. I don't know how else to talk about it. I'm gonna get angry and I'm gonna be, I can't think of the word, but yeah, I was like, my life in a year from now is not going to look good because I'm going to be so frustrated that I'm not acting on all these things that I know that I need to do, that I'm supposed to do, that I want to do.
Yeah, I love the phrase that you use of like the dreams are rotting inside of you, because it's like swamp water that doesn't flow tends to rot and stink, and water that flows consistently is actually the purest water there is. I mean, you literally can take a cup into some spring water, scoop it in, and drink it. So it's literally flow that is what makes something like alive, and it makes something like really really come alive, in you and out in your work. And that was the thing that we talked about, is like, let's get into flow and make this happen.
Yes, and flow rather than stagnation. That's the word I was looking for. Stagnation is what I felt like, a pond just stagnating. You know what I mean? And the flow, I think once we opened the gates, it was like, whoa,
Yeah. And so I remember there comes a point in every conversation where we're like, okay, like, are you ready for this? And are you ready to be all in? And being all in was not only investing financially, but it's also like, are you willing to show up? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to face the monsters that are inevitably going to come? Because it's at that point in time, it's not really the monsters that are stopping you. It's the fear of seeing those monsters in the future that are stopping you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is really scary. It's like you're doing the big things and opening up big opportunities, but you're also dealing with your like everyday habits that are hard and have a lot of monsters in them. And I feel like imprinting has helped me so much with the daily habits. And yeah.
Yeah. So then we got to the point in the conversation, which is one of my favorites, which is we talked about doing the legacy program where me and you work closely one-on-one.
Yes.
Which involves identity imprinting, the Rewire program, the group coaching, and the Level Up program we do,
yes.
And me and you working intensely one-on-one, so you can build something that leaves a legacy that has an impact on the world from when you create it till the end of time.
Well, and that's what I wanted so much. Like, I knew that the work I was doing with Shakespeare and presence and voice and empowerment could have such a big impact. And it was just dying that I couldn't reach more people with it. So yeah, the legacy piece was a really big thing for me.
Yeah. And as soon as and one of my favorite parts about doing those type of discovery calls is because like, one of the things that when I'm coaching other coaches or I'm receiving coaching from my coaches is we do those strategy sessions or discovery calls to see if we're a good fit to work together.
Yes.
Because if you're going to invest all of your time and a bunch of your resources in working together with me, then I'm investing just the same. Because I was working with one coach and he told me what he was gonna charge for his program, and I said, are you ready to be responsible for that much money in results?
Right.
And are you excited? And so one of the reasons I have those conversations personally is because I want to be emotionally invested and excited about your mission. And,
right.
and excited to be a part of that. And what you had in terms of like unleashing the like potential in people by having them do the hardest thing, which Shakespeare, like what in acting, what's harder than like truly knowing, understanding, and performing Shakespeare. And once you do that hardest thing, once you bench press the 500 pounds, bench pressing the 200 pounds becomes quite simple.
Yes.
And so I was on board, as soon as I like heard the passion of your mission and saw like your gift, I was super on board. And so when we talked about investing, there was a point where like, okay, so the investment was over 5 figures. And there was a moment where I said it, and then all of a sudden there was silence.
Do you want to know what I look like on the other end of the phone call? That video. This is what I look like. I was like, just like head in hands. When you said the number, I was like, that's like the number that gets my head in my hands. Cause how is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah. And I said to you, I remember, and I say this to almost everyone that, that I actually like make an offer like that to, is I said, does that number scare you? And you were like, yes. I was like, good. Because if it didn't scare you, I'm going to double it.
I remember. I was like, no, I'm terrified. Don't worry.
And the thing is like, the reason that it should scare you is because like your progress rests on the edges of excitement and fear, which we call anxiety. Right? And I remember telling you like, hey, like do like, one of two things, you're not going to do this for one of two reasons. One, you don't think that I'm the coach for you, which may be possible. And if that's the case, we need to have a certain conversation, or you're afraid that you don't have what it takes. And if that's the case, I'm going to assure you that if I am the coach, that I'm going to see you through that. And I remember telling you as well, like I said, my job as your coach is to encourage you to do the things that you know are good for you, even though you're absolutely terrified.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I also remember telling you that investing is not going to be the hardest thing that you do.
No, and it hasn't been. Oh my gosh. Like the amount of scary things that I've done since we've started is amazing. Is like truly amazing.
So good. And so then from there, I was like, the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to say yes, you're going to make your investment, and then I'm going to give you my Voxer link, because in like 10 minutes, you're going to freak out, and I'm going to help you through that freak out. And like, in the whole purpose of that, and I want you to share this experience, is like, when you take a leap to the next area of your life where you take the leap, but you don't know where the ground is.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really scary. But the ability to do that is the thing that allows you to continue to move forward in creating your program, into getting acting jobs, into all the things that you wanted.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And saying that also, like, I want my life to look like my life and my particular potential. And I want to live that to the biggest possible place I can. And to do that, I think you've got to be like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I got to step into the unknown again and again and again. And that was such a moment of just like really being terrified and really doing it anyway. And then knowing that I could, and then having you there with all of the support right away. And I was like, okay, if this is what it's going to look like, we're good to go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. In our first couple sessions, there was a session, I meant to send you a Voxer on this to see if it was okay that we talked about this. So let me know.
I'm open
Let me know.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. So one of the first things we did was is like I taught you precise language like on a deeper level, so we can actually see what's going on. And one of the things that kind of etched in my mind that was a huge turning point for you is that you had a mentor that taught something similar to you, and you saw that there was somewhat of a break in integrity.
Yes.
And the effect that it had that on you is like, well, if she's doing what I want to be doing and I see her, I put her on a pedestal and I see that there's a break in integrity there, then how can I expect myself to go beyond that?
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And before we even got started on like the strategies of creating a program or getting more acting jobs, we had to address that. And we did that in precise language, and it turned out to be super, super powerful.
It was incredibly powerful. I remember that session. I mean, it was a big cry fest for me because I think it was precise language, but I just want to say something about you as a coach. You're so heart focused and heart open that it's so easy for me to be as well, and to get right to the heart, if you will, of the issue that was going on, and using precise language is so powerful as well. But yeah, it was I couldn't believe how quickly we got to the issue that was going on, and also how quickly we moved through it, and how I got to embrace my own version of what it's going to be, and break away from my mentor just on a psychic level, and say like, I think you said to me, you were like, you're peers now. And I was like, oh my God, I can't be the peer of somebody who's that amazing and like brilliant and all this stuff. But it's true. Like, I'm a peer, and I'm going to take the work that I was taught in the direction I'm going to take it in. And I've got to do that fully and as big and as wide as I can do it. Which is what my mentor did too. So, and you said something beautiful too about families too, that I'm always going to remember, where like, you know, your parents take it as far as they can take it, and then you take it to the next level, and everybody's doing the best that they can, and it's okay that you've been disappointed, and you've got to just say that's the best that they can do. And I'm going to do the best I can do. And the best I can do is like working with you and doing this work on like a really as big of a level as I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that thing with family is I didn't remember that until you just brought that up, but it's our families our parents do the best that they can to bring us up, and they do amazing things. And then there are some things that they fall short on.
Right.
And the way that we manage monsters or negativity is we extract the shame, or we extract the blame. Shame is more internal, blame is more external.
Right.
And once we extract that emotion, then all that's negative emotions is just an opportunity for a lesson. It really is an opportunity for wisdom to be extracted. And once we did that, your ability to accept that you are playing on this level, your ability to accept people for who they are, specifically mentors that you have, it all became aligned. And then I remember we did something super powerful. I'm getting kind of emotional. So was that we went in and we actually had a conversation with the monster that was haunting you. And we thank the monster for the wisdom.
Right. And that's so powerful to say that all of your monsters have wisdom to bring you, you know, so you don't have to resist them, and you don't have to not go there. You can go and get the gold of the wisdom and take care of the monster at the same time.
Right. Yeah. And once we did that, it was interesting. Like, our first couple sessions were just on creating the big vision.
Yes.
And then we went in, it was like, okay, what monster is really like anchoring this down in being stagnant.
Yeah.
And once we cut that cord and it was able to flow, at that point, genius came out of you. That's what I want to talk about next. So we had a conversation of like your program, and of course to any particularly skilled artist or teacher, like they know their teachings really well, but like the benefits that it have for the person that's receiving it, there's always this weird like kind of like chasm between
Yes,
the way you see it and the way that they receive it.
totally.
And it was, in the precise language session that we did, that just like opened the whole thing up to like the benefits of the wisdom that you have, in acting.
I couldn't believe how quickly we got to it and how I was able to articulate it so clearly. That's what's amazing to me. And I have the transcript of that session, and I go back to it all the time when I'm thinking about benefits and how to let people know like why this work is important and how it's going to help them. I go back to that, and then like just in one session, I got it all done in something that was hard for me to articulate for years.
Yeah. And now, okay, so then after that, then we started coming up with like the program. Okay, so
Yes.
like what does it look like? And as I was sharing with you before, I've put together, I think 15 programs in my day. And even to this day, when I was working on my most recent suite of products, I had this like internal creative constipation of like trying to get it out. And you experienced a little bit of that as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We had our session, and it was like, okay, you're gonna record, you're gonna outline it and record it, and then like maybe it didn't happen that week. I want you to kind of talk about that struggle that you had to like actually pulling the trigger, turning the ignition over, and getting started, because that was a little bit of a process.
It really was a process. I was kicking and screaming a little bit. my little monster was kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I think there was a week where I was supposed to start like recording videos for my program. And I did nothing at all, totally avoided you all week. And yeah, what really helped me, I mean, besides all the work that we had done, like prep work, was time boxing and just sitting down. You were like, you just made me schedule out the whole week, and you were like, you're going to need twice the time you think you're going to need to do it, because you need to have room for all the resistance. And like I had an hour to do one thing. I sat there for half an hour at my computer going, oh, this is dumb. I hate this. What's going on? I don't know what I'm talking about. And then the second half hour, I would sit down and record it, and it would be great.
Yeah.
But I needed all that time for all the resistance to have a voice, and to just also be kind to myself and say, yeah, like this isn't easy. I am going to sit down, and I'm going to struggle a bit, and I'm going to wonder if I'm good enough to do this and all that. And to be able to have some compassion and go through all of that and then do the work. And then when I look back at it, I was like, that's great. All the things I was afraid of beforehand didn't happen at all. But I'm so glad I had the time for them to be there.
Yeah.
All the doubts, all the fears, all the negative self-talk and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's one of that's a big part of the program, which is inviting the monsters to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
Because in the kingdom that is Aaron, you've got your angels that are like saying you can do it, giving you all types of creative ideas, and then you've got your monsters being like, you ain't shit. you're not doing anything.
Yes.
And they all deserve a seat at the table,
yeah.
But you get to choose where they sit, when they speak, right. and all of that. And I remember like talking about like, we were like, okay, so how long is it going to take you when we were doing the time boxing, how long is it going to take you to do this? And you're like, an hour. And I was like, okay, we're going to schedule 90 minutes because create 30 minutes for the resistance to show up, because there's wisdom in that. There's
so much wisdom in it. And it was just kind too, which is like a newer way of treating myself. It was just like, yeah, you're not Superwoman. You can't get this all done in half an hour. It's going to take an hour and a half because you're human. Right. But I was so pleased with the results because of that. Yeah. And so what was awesome is in the Level Up program, in Rewire, we teach this way to time box, which a lot of people say the way most people do like their to-do list is like, okay, I've got to record this video. It'll be done by Tuesday. And we're like, well, hold up.
so when are you going to start it?
Yes,
right?
that is not specific or
Right.
precise.
No, not at all. It's like, I'm going to start it at 1 p.m. Great. How long is it going to take? It's going to take an hour. Great. We're going to book an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then it was, okay, so you're going to start at 1, be done at 2:30. What does it look like when it's done? Like, what happens next? And then the answer was, you send me the link to the video you just shot.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it was very binary of whether it was done or not.
Right.
And then we went even further than that as well, which is a little bit more like advanced in terms of visualization to do things that you have resistance to, which is, what room are you going to do it in? Where are you going to sit?
Yeah.
What equipment are you going to use? If you're on your computer, like, what tabs are going to be open? What applications are going to be open?
Right.
And we got specific down to, like, are you going to be wearing shoes or not wearing shoes? And I want you to speak on, like, the difference that made in terms of getting things done, because the result was insane.
Well, I think it's just that that's where my monsters were coming in. And I think this is really probably comes up for everybody when you're thinking like, oh, I'll get that done by then, and I'll get that done by then. There's always like some wiggle room, to get out of it. It's always like, well, if by Tuesday means like all day Tuesday, not, not it. I think it's about the specificity of everything. Like, this is where I'm going to be. This is what it's going to look like. This is what I will wear. This is what it looks like when it's done. I love that binary thing. It's like, it's either done or it's not done. There is no,
Right.
oh, I kind of did it. So I think it's really just the specificity, and then it makes it so that there's no wiggle room at all. Like, you can't get out of it.
Yeah. We added so we had like a 2-week break because you were in Australia, New Zealand?
New Zealand. Yeah.
Right. And we'll get to your imprinting story about skydiving. So you're in New Zealand, and so in the Level Up program. So for those of you that don't know, our Level Up program is our group coaching program where we like reset the mind every single week, create new imprints in order for you to be supported in the things that you need to do in order to move the needle forward towards your vision. So one of the things that we're doing this year, Aaron, is, how we choose, 3 to 5 things that are critical in order for you to get done. And then we time box them. When you're going to start it, how long is it going to take? What does it look like when it's done? So what we're doing now is, in that private Facebook group, we actually schedule a post to go out 15 minutes before you're supposed to start. Being like,
no!
Aaron, what's going on? And what does it look like when it's done? You've got to post in there and be like, hey, I'm done. And like, whatever insights came up, whether they were like, insightful experiences that you had, or maybe resistances that you had, you share them on there for the benefit of the group. But all of those are held accountable, like, in the program. So that was one of the things that, yeah.
You really can't get out of it.
there is no, I mean, you can. But
of course you can. But
right. But then we're going to ask the question, what were you doing during that time? And why was that more important than the thing and then we go into precise language, we investigate the monster, and then we recalibrate your affirmations for imprinting so you can be supported in the future.
Right.
So,
and I love what you're saying, because it's like, oh, I was procrastinating. It's like, okay, but what were you doing? Actually? Like, there's always somewhere more specific to go in this work, which helps me so much. Yeah.
So I want to share like the end result that you got. So like, it was probably like 10 days, and we were trying to figure out a way for you to record the videos to actually document the process of you helping people, or you teaching people how to embrace Shakespeare in a way that unlocks their potential, right?
Yeah.
And 10 days went by and not a whole lot got done. And then we investigated the monsters that showed up, and we reset the adjustments of the way that you were wired, and then the output that you had blew my mind. And like, I'd like to consider myself a high performer, but you did some shit that I had never done before. Like, you literally created an 8-week program with some additional trainings as well.
Yeah, some additional trainings, some traditional trainings outside of the
Yeah.
8-week.
Yeah. And I think you did it in a week and a half.
Yeah, I did. Even,
And,
I think it was even a little bit less than that.
yes. And I was just absolutely blown away on how you were able to take action while still experiencing resistance.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Thank you
everyone
for
thinks
saying
it's,
that. I appreciate that, because that's exactly what it is. And I think I had an idea that you're supposed to just feel great and that's when you get work done and whatnot. But the fact is there is always resistance. And the bigger the thing you're doing, sometimes the resistance is bigger, and the bigger the monster and the bigger the wisdom, all that good stuff. But yeah, of course there's going to be resistance. And it's so helpful and kind to just give yourself the time and space to work through all of that as you go.
yeah. And that's why, like, our training together is all about like loving every part of yourself.
Yeah.
Even the part of yourself that gives you resistance, that starts sabotaging you, and all of that. It all, we use every part of the buffalo. You know what I mean?
Well, and you think if I can just wrestle that thing to the ground and beat it up, somehow I won't have any more resistance. But it's not true. It's like there's always going to be stuff that comes up. So it's like being able to deal with it, not just deal with it, but like embrace it, like you said.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, it was super inspiring, and so like I put in the post, or the post that's above us, is like what took me 8 years to do, to find someone that, to find a JV partner that was interested in sharing my message, in creating a program like soup to nuts, and creating the features and the benefits of it and how you're going to deliver it. I mean, God. It took me it took me, like I said, 8 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do, until I met somebody that was able to help me collapse that timeline.
Right.
And I met my buddy, Trip Kramer, who was this is when I was a dating and relationship coach. And he helped me kind of like clarify, and clarify and kind of siphon like what was truth and what was resistance.
Yeah.
And as soon as that was able to happen, then my business went from a couple $1,000s a month, to 5 figures a month. And it was, in looking back on it now, like the arrogance that I had. Because I mean I've been a coach for 20 years. Okay, I was a fitness coach when I was 16 years old, and I'm now 36. And and just thinking like I've done this before. I mean, I was an author. I was a 2-time author in the fitness industry. I taught at the National Personal Training Institute. I opened up a home personal training division of my business. I opened up a group coaching division of my business. I developed a results coaching, which was more kind of like the mindset stuff. And so I was like, you know what, I got this. And one of the things that I've realized is that it really takes mentorship and community and focus to accomplish what, the big dream that you have, no matter what level that you're on.
Absolutely. And I love that I love that the legacy program involves all of that, It's great to have community. I'm so happy to have the group coaching as well as the personal coaching. It's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, the Monday calls that we have where we do our weekly planning has been first of all, it's like it's my favorite group coaching that I've ever done.
Aww.
And it's like it's been so useful for me, because
Right.
like I got to take my own medicine, you know what I mean? Like I got to be doing my imprinting. I've got to be speaking precisely. I've got different mentors that are in areas in their business where I'm a part of Congruent Coach with Alex Moscow, which I invested a ton of money into and then became a coach. I joined the 7-figure CEO with Andrew Cruzy to help me like systemize my business and build a team, which cost me somewhere between 60 and 70,000. And because I am like sharing with you, like, hey, here's what I think you need to do. I then in turn have to be in integrity, thoughts, words, and actions all being the same thing in order in order for me to grow. And it's just like, I've noticed it from my own personal experience to watching my mentors. I actually just had a conversation with Alex Moscow, and in like a staff meeting that we had, and he works with Mary Morrissey, who's on like the next level, and has been receiving, coaching from her. And I'm pretty sure he paid a lot more than I paid for any of my programs with her. But it's really about cracking the whip. You know what I mean? Like you progressing this way, and then you slinging people up this way, and then having to keep up yourself with the advice you're giving.
Well, I felt the same way because I'm a coach for the 2% for Jen's mastermind, Jen Rudolph, and I was like, I've got to make sure I'm up leveling all the time too, and being super inspired by all the people I'm coaching. And being like, yeah, I got to keep going, and then I can bring them higher, and then I can go higher, and all of that. So that was part of my thinking too when I signed up, was like, I just got to make sure like I'm not only a great coach, but like I'm living the same thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that's what I love about being in communities of high performers, because it truly is, it's what my friend used to call a situational leadership. So the way that like coaching used to go was like, guru is up here, you create a massive amount of distance between guru and students. And so and the mission was like, you want slow learners with deep pockets, which just makes me fucking sick to my stomach hearing that. No. But that's not the way that it is anymore. It's like, in the situation of rewiring the mind, this is where I'm a leader. Right. But then in a situation where it comes to systemizing your business, I've got that with Andrew and the 7-Figure CEO. When it comes to like doing enrollment with heart, there's no one on the planet better than Alex Moscow. And so for each one of those guys, like I've been a part of a mastermind that Andrew's a part of, where I'm coaching, and now I'm getting coaching by him. And then I've been a part of Alex's mastermind. Now I'm coaching for him, and he even comes to me for like one-on-one stuff for mind rewiring stuff. I really feel like the way that like learning and development is going these days is more so like the Avengers than it is like a single superhero.
Yeah, I love that. It's totally like the Avengers. Natalie Roy and Kristen Hange, who I like adore and I went to Create for a long time. They talk about that too. They're like, we're just one step ahead. Like, you never want to go to a guru who's like, oh, I know everything. Like, we're just in it with you. These are all the questions we're thinking about. We're sharing. We hope it can help. And yeah, I just that way of doing it really appeals to me.
Yeah, and me too. And it's like, and what's really cool about it being in that place of situational leadership, as I've seen it with other experts, is that like when you're coaching, and I say this to everyone whenever they're using language at any time, you're not speaking just to that person, you're also speaking to yourself.
Yeah, so true.
And so you've got to live up to that expectation that you're setting for other people. And so that's why I love working with high performers. That's why I love working with like insanely talented people like yourself, because it causes me to take a look at my own performance, my own behaviors, my own belief systems, and say, hey, Spence, are you doing that too? And the thing is, if I'm not only is it a disservice to myself, but it's also a disservice to you. And so the motivation becomes like, I want to be the best coach for you, and I want to be the best person I can be. And so there's 2 points of leverage to help me level up.
Right.
And
absolutely.
So that's why I love the model.
Yeah, definitely.
So one more thing before we take off.
Okay.
Is I want you to talk about it was skydiving, right? That you
did. My God. Yes. I went skydiving in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So precise language and imprinting like has been amazing in so many ways. And like imprinting for me has often been on a daily level kind of imprinting and dealing with the things that come up. But I was in New Zealand, and my older brother said, hey, I'm going skydiving. You got to come. And I was like, Yes, which is crazy because I'm afraid of heights. I am afraid of flying, and basically everything to do with it. I was like, I'm not really a thrill seeker. I'm not like an adrenaline junkie, because I feel like, I don't know if other actors listening to this, like, we get enough adrenaline. I don't need to like I go on auditions, I go on stage, I'm on set. Like, I don't need to jump out of airplanes. But for whatever reason, I said yes. And I was like, I think I want to do something that I don't think I can do. And also my older brother, it's like a brother sister thing. I was like, I gotta like do it with him. And my mom was like, can you do that? And I was like, yes, I can. So the night before I went skydiving, I was absolutely terrified. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to imprint something in the morning that's going to help me. And it totally helped. I picked 3 imprints. I have them somewhere if you want, but I was like, I think these imprints are going to be not just good for helping me like actually get myself out of the plane, but I think they're going to be really good, like a metaphor for me for the coming year, for all of the big, scary things I want to do. And yeah, it was really amazing to just be up there in the plane, terrified, like getting hooked on to somebody behind me who's about to push me out of plane, and being like, just going over my imprints and breathing. And I got through it and had a great time and was incredibly proud of myself. So
That's
it's
awesome.
not just for like the daily stuff. It's also for the big, scary stuff where you're like, I need like a belief and a mantra that like is going to come to me in that moment that's very scary and when I most need it. And it was there for me and it was amazing.
Yeah. And the thing about like about the imprints is what it does is your fear is put up against your integrity. So you choose an imprint that I am courageous and take the leap when I'm most scared. Let's just say that was the imprint, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so you've made a decision, right? Your thoughts and your words have now made a decision to be a certain thing.
Yeah.
And then it comes to your actions and you're like, I don't want to jump. I don't want to jump. And so you got to choose. Am I going to choose my integrity or my fear?
Right.
And at some point, like if you value your integrity and see like what integrity does to like for your creations, your relationships, your emotions, everything, like at some point the integrity, you're like, well, it's not worth destroying my integrity. And so now the thoughts, words, and actions become the same thing, and you're able to take action in a way that almost seems effortless. So in order for you to take the leap and do the things that are required in order for you to create the legacy that you're looking to create.
Absolutely. No one thought that I would ever be a person that would jump out of a plane. Like, literally, no one in my life. I had to post it on social media because I was like, I still can't believe this happened. But it was a really great way of showing myself exactly what you're saying, that when all of those things line up, it was effortless. And it was effortless. Mm-hmm. It was a really good experience. And I was braver than some other people that I was with. So, but that was just interesting to me because I think imprinting has been so helpful on a daily basis with everything, but to do something for like a really big, scary thing that in my brain didn't seem possible, I felt like it was a really good just thing for my whole body and my psyche and my consciousness to be like, yeah, this year I'm going to do that probably a lot. And I'm going to be doing things that felt impossible before and incredibly scary. And I'm going to be doing them. And I'm going to be doing them, like you said, with some alignment and some grace, because I've done all this work with you.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure that we could go on for at least another hour, because there's one more thing that I wanted to say, and then we'll bounce. But so one of the things that happened with you was so inspiring. Was there came a point that the acceleration of your progress was so fast that we needed to take a week off because it was too much too fast, which we call those high quality problems.
Yeah, those are the problems I wanted to have. That I was asking for. And then I was like, oh, that's a new feeling. Oh, right. I actually have to slow down and just take care of myself for a week and be like, all of this is happening and it's great. And I just need to let it integrate.
Yeah. And that is when you go through this shift where you set goals, and there's two different ways. There's two different mindsets of setting goals. Is one, what do I think is possible?
Right.
That's level one. And then level two is, I know that all things are possible. So I need to set goals based on what do I know is going to break me? So
Yes.
I remember like when I was joining the last mastermind that I was a part of, I had a decision on like what my goals were going to be for my company, for, you know, identity imprinting and precise language and, you know, all these things. And and like my thoughts were not like, well, what's possible for me to do? It was, what will break me? And so it's like, I need to actually kind of lower my expectations, because if, you know, my company does $10 million next year, that would break me. Like,
Yeah.
I physically would not, like the whole thing would become crumbling down. So it was like, I need to set the goal up to a point that definitely terrifies me, and then ask myself, like, what do I need in terms of support in order to have that not break me and that still be possible? And like when I made that decision, that's when I joined this high level mastermind. I hired a project manager, an assistant coach, and a community manager, and all that stuff, because like you want to set your sights big, but also like you want to make sure that you're delivering. And so it's not, and so then it becomes like you're actually thinking about like what's possible, not what's possible, but what's best versus what's possible. And I feel like you've kind of crossed that threshold of like, you know what's possible. And now let's think, okay, what's best for you and the people that you're trying to serve.
I love that. I love that. And so true. I agree completely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day today to come speak.
Totally
to
my pleasure. It makes me very happy to do this.
Cool. And I was looking forward to this all week, all like last week. And you got anything else to say before we take off?
I just want to say, yeah, from my own experience, like if people have something in their heart or in their mind or a desire that they know they have to do and they don't know how to do it, like, please work with Spencer. It's been really incredible. And I mean, so many impossible things have happened, and I've done it all totally in integrity with who I am and with my heart fully there. And honestly, like, healed a lot of things along the way too. So I'm very happy to share all this. And I really hope your message and your work gets to as many people as possible.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that so much. Thank you for doing this. And I'm going to see you in class tonight.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
We have the Level Up class, the weekly planning at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, for those of you who are part of that group, and for those of you who want to be part of that group. So, Erin, thank you so much for coming on. I'm seeing that we've got some messages here from
nice.
from Steve and from Marianne. Hey, Marianne, what's going on? I think Jen joined as well. And then
Nice.
Steve says he loves the Giants novelty oversized book cover. I was like, Steve, did you also notice I've got imprints here? The imprint here is Sam's. My life is fueled by my earned resources, and then here's my imprint. Until my one thing is done, everything else is a distraction. That's a super powerful one.
Oh, that's brutal. That's so true. I'm going to steal that one, actually.
Yeah, it's very good. I got some other imprints right here. Okay. You're not confused. You're just kind of fucked up. And this one's good. I want you to adopt this one, Erin. You were a star. Start fucking acting like it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm stealing that one too. Oh, man.
But that. Oh wait, in the Level Up group, there is a video. I think it's only like 40 minutes long, on monthly imprinting. So it's something that I came up with a couple weeks ago. We make an entire list of all of your imprints. So in our weekly imprinting, you can just extract like what you need to serve you that week. In addition, when you have all of your imprints there, it basically is a map of your desired consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And then every month you go and rate it, so you can see the progress of the ratings. And so if they drop, we know we need to pay attention to it. If it goes up, we know you're doing good. And then we have monster imprinting. So all of the messages your monsters give you, we have you document those too and see how powerful they are in telling you the messages that you suck, you're no good, and all that stuff. And so if those actually go up, we then know that we need to polarize what the monster is telling you with a positive imprint and then work on that. It's so good.
I'm so excited to get started
Yeah.
with that.
So take a look at that. For those of you who want to see that, that's actually in the Rewire program. I'm going to be making a post later on today on how you can get that Rewire program. But other than that, Erin, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure.
All right, and I will see you tonight.
Yes, I will be there.
Awesome. And we got a session tomorrow. So much time together.
I know.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll talk to you soon. And thank you everyone for watching. We're out.